Once upon a time, when African villages were still being governed by the elders, there exists a bustling village in the continent of Africa, nestled in between 3 rolling hills, 2 mountains, and a fertile plains. In this village popularly called Mambosa lived a wise old man popularly called Kiloni. His real name was Anglo-Diof. However, everyone observed that he was fond of looking up at the sky and shouting Kiloni, which in his language means I will become great someday. Kiloni came from Anglo to Mambosa. Anglo was 10 villages away from Mambosa. He got married there, bought some acres of land and became a rich farmer. Apart from being very industrious, Kiloni was also known throughout the land for his wisdom, his sagacity, and his storytelling prowess. In his old age, every evening, children would gather around him, eager to hear his tales of wisdom and adventure. He always had a character-molding story to tell them. One cool evening, after the harvest of late maize, as the orange hues of the setting sun painted the sky, Kiloni sat with his grandchildren and some other village children by a crackling fire. They have assembled as usual and eagerly awaited the evening story. Kiloni drank some water, cleared his throat and began to tell them a story. He said, "Long ago, in a village much like ours, there lived a young man named Akinfo. Akinfo was a very strong and smart young man, but his undoing was that he was lazy and get distracted easily. Despite many rebukes from his parents, he spent his days wandering around the village, chatting with friends who are busy most of the time with their chores. His favorite evening pastime is to play games with the village old men under the Iroko tree. While his peers toiled at the early stage in the field or learned valuable skills from their elders, Kofi wasted his time in idle pursuits." The children listened intently, and their eyes were wide with curiosity. One day, Kiloni continued, an old wise man from a distant village visited Mambosa on his way to a distant land. He carried with him a traveler's bag and a mysterious hourglass that seemed to glow with an inner light. Curious, Okonfo approached the old man and asked about the hourglass. "This," said the old man, "is the hourglass of time. Each grain of sand that you see dropping represents a moment of your life. Once it falls, you can never regain it." Okonfo paused and for a moment, the weight of the words sank in. Suddenly, he laughed at the old man's words, dismissing them as the ramblings of an eccentric and even struggled to take it from him. However, the old man persisted, and repeatedly said, "Time is life, young one. Every moment spent in idleness or frivolity is a moment lost forever." It was as if he was sent to warn Okonfo, but he refused to listen and simply walked away. The children exchanged glances, because they were captivated by the tale. Okonfo shrugged off the old man's warning and went about his days as before. But as the years passed, he began to notice something. While his friends had grown skilled in their crafts, built homes, and started families, Okonfo had nothing to show for his time. After a while, when his parents that took up his responsibilities died, and old age set in, regret gnawed at him. That was when Okonfo realized that he had squandered the precious gift of time. Kiloni's voice softened as he concluded, "Children, remember this story well. Time is the most valuable treasure we possess. Each moment should be cherished and used wisely, for once it is gone, it can never be reclaimed. Fill your days with purpose and endeavor, for that is the true measure of a life well lived." He paused for a moment and the silence everywhere seems to drive the message in. The children nodded solemnly, absorbing Kiloni's words of wisdom. From today always strive to make every moment count, just as I have taught you. They all nodded, and afterwards he taught them a song which they all sang happily. After singing the song twice, under the blanket of stars, with the crackling fire casting dancing shadows, Kiloni sent the children home. The tale left behind a lesson etched deep in the hearts of his grandchildren and all other village children that time is indeed life, and wasting it on fruitless endeavors is akin to losing a precious part of oneself.